Welcome back. I am crushing another episode of 666 Seconds of Murder. And you know what's up. That means that this video should be less than 666 seconds or 11 minutes and 6 seconds. And I say should because sometimes I go just a little bit over, but I'll try to keep it at breakneck speed today. So hang on tight. Today, though, I'm wearing a shirt to support a buddy of mine who's been really good to me, getting me rides when I need them for doctor's appointments and stuff. But he owns a business called The Painted Wraith with his wife here in Illinois. And he's got a really good website. I'll flash it on the screen. It's easy, thepaintedwraith.com. And if you like oddities, weird stuff, he's got them. I'll talk more about that later. But odd gifts, he's your guy. Do me a favor, though. Take a moment, like this video. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and do that before you leave today. And drop a comment below and let others know what you thought about it and me. And you want to just throw up some horns if you don't want to write anything, that's fine. It helps get the video out there to more people. But always remember, with my videos, these are just speculations, opinions. Everything is alleged. I'm not saying anybody is guilty of anything at all. I'm sure most of you, though, following the case of the Idaho 4 have heard about Ann Taylor and what she said in the hearing last week about their defense, their alternate theory that they're working on. Very exciting. I was stoked to hear that because, like you, I mean, I feel there's so many others with motive here. Much more than Brian Kohberger. So with no ties to them whatsoever that they could find. Ann mentioned that they got a recent tip that led them, to some formulating some alternate theory. They're still working on it. Definitely has my interest peaked, that's for sure. I believe I also heard she was utilizing some video from the University of Idaho. Now that really makes this sound even more enticing because that would be just perfect if the university wound up damning themselves in this whole mess because they've been trying to do everything but that. They've been distancing themselves and really trying to stay pristine here with this. We know that the scene of the crime was off campus, but not by much. So was it seen, maybe a car on a camera or someone walking by or tossing something in a dumpster? Who knows? So many options there. I've done dozens of videos about this case and floating many of the interesting theories that I've heard. Most of the early focus was, of course, on Jack DeCore, the ex-boyfriend of Kaylee. That's an obvious choice. The ex is always, or the current partner or ex, always number one on the list with investigators. Or Jack Showalter, the hoodie guy who loved to hunt big game and had an alleged thing for putting the carcasses of dead coyotes on the rival frat and sorority house steps. I mean, that's just messed up. And heard that he was kicked out of the fraternity over that and some issues with some women. Just a problem child. And these speculations, also led to him being, potentially the person that skinned that dog, that Buddy. That was a horrible crime that happened right around in that area. So just some sick stuff. Not sure if he's involved in it or not, but it's certainly curious. What about the really weird neighbor, old Enon Harsh? Remember him? He had an easy access because he was right there. He knew the girls. Hard to say what his deal was, but he worked with knives at his job. So a lot of people speculated he was involved. Emma Bailey, the bad girl who seemed to be always around that house often, visiting Dylan, visiting Bethany. not a good crowd to be hanging around with. But she was rumored to have been involved in the narcotics business with her boyfriend, Demetrius Robinson. And, she was also pursuing a modeling career and doing nudes and videos and stuff like that. So, all of that, of course, allegedly. But if this crime was narcotics related, then it seems like Emma and Demetrius were involved maybe in some way. But again, we don't know. Now, last but certainly not least, what about the Sigma Chi fraternity boys who hosted a party where Ethan and Xana were the night before? We know all that. But that same party where a fight supposedly happened between Ethan and David Loach, and the infamous 4chan post, if you recall, said that David Loach and his sidekick since high school, David Barakoa, were involved in this. Again, this is what the 4chan post said. I'm just reading what they said, but talked about they had this fantasy, this murder fantasy since high school together. So really creepy, really weird. And lots of things panned out from those 4chan posts. I've done videos on it. Really kind of crazy, but they started December 12th of 2022. So only 3 weeks after, almost 4 weeks after the crimes. So messed up. Now, the first group that the police investigated, of course, was the Sigma Chi fraternity. That didn't last long, though. It was soon after they dropped everything and ran to Brian Kohberger based on a tip that they received, they claimed, from the FBI. All a bit shady here, if you ask me, the way it all went down. I still don't totally understand it. It doesn't seem to make much sense on how they came up with his name. It's like that shell game, trying to follow the whatever you're looking at or whatever is under the shell, and it's easy to get confused. And that's what they seem really good at the Moscow Police Department. Now, as the ex of Kaylee, the police claim they cleared Jack DeCour as well as Jack Showalter, and they were cleared in a matter of a few days. So, their alibis were both very weak, and so it's amazing they were cleared that fast. And Steve G, he said it too. People were cleared way too early. I would agree with that statement. I heard one of them was cleared over the phone. No interview given, just called on the phone. And if I was to guess who that was, I would guess it would be Jack Showalter, because I do know that they did talk to Jack DeCour. Emma and Demetrius ran into some legal trouble in Washington State due to an incident involving a University of Idaho student who was overdosed on their product near Seattle. They went to jail for 3 weeks or so, and then had a quick trial or a hearing, and they were gone. They were televised. You can watch them on YouTube, or at least I have seen them on YouTube. Whether they're still there or not, I don't know. But why were they let go for something so serious as that? I mean, they had proof, they had evidence, so it wasn't like they didn't have it. It's definitely strange, and that usually makes you think that maybe they were informants or going to be informants. Why else would they let him go? I mean, you're talking heavy prison time for something like that. There are so many shady individuals in this Idaho 4 story. There are others I didn't even mention, but I'll be ready to hear what Ann Taylor and her team have to say about it. Be something none of us considered, or maybe one of the ones we've heard of so many times. It's going to be exciting, but remember, the defense has to bring the proof to convince this prosecution-leaning judge, this Judge Hippler, to allow it to be brought up in the trial. So all we can do is hope. I know in the Delphi case, he was not able to bring up alternate theories in that trial, and that was a travesty of justice. So I hope they don't repeat that here in Boise, Idaho in August when this trial starts. But of course, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. You guys have the best comments, so many good ones. Also, don't forget to check out thepaintedwraith.com to browse their online store. If you're into astrology, natural medicine, really cool local artwork, t-shirts, furniture, creepy like medical devices, stuff in jars. They sell some of my books there, other local authors as well. Tell them Murder Metal Mayhem sent you. I'm sure they'll take really good care of you, extra good care of you. Big thanks to all the members of the Horns High Club. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you that follow this channel and watch these videos. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and drop a comment below. And we'll see you next time.